cash a meal. And do it through the pain, I don't need a pill. And life gon' get me down, but it won't break my will. Cause I've been chasing this so long, I can't give up. I won't give in, been through too much. I done prayed for the money, I done prayed for the fame. I done prayed that I will make a sacrifice and play this game. I done prayed that my life would never be the same. I done prayed that I will make it bring glory to my name.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the NFL Coverage. Before we get started, this podcast is brought to you by Final Form Subs, finalformsubs.com. Final Form Subs is a supplement brand that is here to help you achieve your final form. We have everything for your everyday gym rat, hardcore gym rats, or for the everyday couch potato that just wants to cover their multivitamins, overall general health for everybody in between. We have creatine monohydrate, which is what I'm taking right here. We also have the new product that just came in, is energy strips. As you can see, I've already opened it. I am taking them right now, and they're great for as soon as you wake up. It's a strip. I think I have one opened already for you guys, actually. You open it up, it's a strip, you put it on your tongue, and bam, you're ready to go. It's got about as much caffeine as a single cup of coffee, and it's got other vitamins in there to keep you going. My energy level I have now has been from the energy strip I took this morning. There's no crash, there's no jitters. You don't feel like a crackhead when you take it. It's a nice, smooth, clean energy, and you are ready to rock all day. And that's what's been keeping me going in the mornings. As soon as I wake up, pop it in, I'm ready to go for the day. Go to finalformsubs.com. That's SUPPS, finalformsubs.com. You use promo code CoachStrib, all caps, no space, to get 10% off your order. Now let's get into the pod. Now, this has been a very interesting week of the NFL for the NFL coverage, and a lot of interesting things that I had talked on last week that we're going to go over this week. And we're also going to speed run through this because I actually got to get to the gym in about 30 minutes, which is what I try to keep the podcast under. So this should be perfect timing. So let's get straight into it. Week 4, starting off Thursday night, we had the Detroit Lions beat the Green Bay Packers. I believe this was a game I said that I thought was going to be interesting moving forward. Now I do believe this solidifies the Detroit Lions as a solid team this year. I do think they have a solid team, and I think they're going to probably finish pretty high in the NFC North. And then with that boy Montgomery, the way he's toting that ball, he had 121 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Goff, he's playing decent, 210 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And then Sunday was the Sunday morning. In London, we had the Atlanta Falcons, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville Jaguars got a pretty dominating win, 23-7. And the Falcons is kind of end up playing out how I think they'll play out. They start off good. Now they're kind of going on a little bit of a bender in terms of losing. So they're 2-2. So they're panning out to be like a decent team. But Jacksonville gets their bounce back win against the Falcons. Steelers, Texans. That boy CJ Stroud has been playing phenomenal individually. I believe I said that last time. But now it looks like the Texans are starting to figure it out. They beat Pittsburgh Steelers 30-6. CJ Stroud had a phenomenal game. But to Pittsburgh's defense, Pickett, I believe, did get hurt in that game. Let me look. Yeah, Pickett got hurt and Matt Trubisky came in, but that might have been late in the game. But anyway, moving on, we have the Rams versus Colts. Rams won 29-23 in overtime. So Rams are trying to make some waves in the game. We have a lot of teams that it's still kind of too early to tell because it's only been 4 games. But Rams and Colts are both 2-2. Colts looking like they could have been a pretty good team, but we'll have to see how that plays out. With also, they're not playing with their best player, with Jonathan Taylor, running back for the Colts. Next, Vikings take over the Panthers. Vikings finally get their win. I do remember saying this win was going to determine who should be panicking. I believe the Carolina Panthers should probably, I don't want to say be in panic mode, but they need to have a sense of urgency with getting it together before it gets too late. You can come back. There's 17 games now, so you can come back 0-4 and go on to make a playoff run, but you got to start turning it around right now. I think once you go 0-6, 0-7, now you got to the point where it's almost too late to come back. Because even if you go 0-7, 0-8, and you win 10 or 9 straight, depending on how the rest of the league plays out, there's still a chance you don't get into the playoffs. So I believe they should have a sense of urgency. They're 0-4. Vikings finally get that dub. But I will say for Carolina, if I remember correctly, Bryce Young played pretty decent. He didn't throw any touchdowns, but he didn't throw any interceptions, 204 yards. And he's continuing to develop there as a rookie quarterback. Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Saints. I'm not surprised. I have Tampa Bay. I believe, for guys that listened to the earlier episodes, I believe it was episode 2. I have Tampa Bay in that tier right below the tier of just clear-cut better teams. I have Tampa Bay in that second tier right there from being in that upper echelon tier. So I think Tampa Bay, especially we all know how the defense is with Tampa Bay. And for some reason, I don't know who pissed off Baker Mayfield, but he's playing really good ball this year. And that defense for Bucs is going well, 26-9. Eagles get a slight victory. Tough game for the Eagles. They had to make a comeback. They were down for the majority of the game, but they beat the Washington Commanders 34-31 in overtime. Even though it was an ugly win, a win is a win for Philadelphia to stay undefeated and go 4-0, and they are officially first in the NFC East. And you know my boy Jalen Hurts, 319 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, no interceptions. He also had 34 rushing yards. And DeAndre Swift, 14 carries, 56 yards, and a tutty. AJ Downtown Brown, 9 receptions for 175 yards, 2 tutties. Devontae Smith, 7 catches for 78 yards. And I mean, talking about a phenomenal receiving core, and it was pretty much Hurts doing what he do, scoring 34 points. Just their defense gave up 31 points. But moving on, Miami Buffalo, another game I thought was going to be interesting, and it tipped the way I believe I said I thought Miami was going to win, but I was interested to see how the Bills play in this game, and they showed up 48-20 over Miami Dolphins. And that boy Allen, 320 yards, 4 passing touchdowns. You had runnings by committee. Murray, 32 yards. Cook, 29 yards. Harris, 29 yards. Allen himself had 17. Allen had a rushing touchdown. Cook had a rushing touchdown. Stephon Diggs, 6 catches, 120 yards, 3 touchdowns. Davis, 3 catches, 61 yards with a touchdown. Cook, 1 catch, 48 yards. I mean, you keep going down the line. He's distributing that ball. The Bills look good that game. I believe I'm still keep Miami in that top tier, but I would slide Bills to where I had the Dallas Cowboys in that limbo gray zone in between top tier echelon and that second tier of elite. I have the Bills and Cowboys probably still right there. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and slide the Cowboys up into that top tier because of we'll get to that game, that dominating game that they had. So next we have Bengals, Tennessee Titans. My Tits, go Tits. We finally get a good dub against the Bills. Not only that, but the defense is really starting to shape up. We only gave up 3 points, opening drive, kickoff, field goal, and the rest of the game, nothing. Absolute shutout after the opening drive for the field goal. And my boy, we finally get a vintage Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry had 122 yards rushing with a rushing touchdown, and he threw for a touchdown for 2 yards. And I mean, Spears, 5 rushes for 40 yards. Tannehill had 240 with a pass touchdown and an interception. And that boy D-Hop had 4 catches for 63 yards. Westbrook had 5 for 51. Moore had 1 for 44. Their tight end had 3 for 29. It was pretty much by committee. Even Derrick Henry had a catch for 11 yards, I believe, on a screenplay. But Titans are looking better. If they can just hone in on that defense and they can get that run game going. Derrick Henry gets 122 rushing yards. I mean, Titans are going to win some ball games. Bengals, oof. My boy Jared Burrow, he only had 163 yards. He got sacked 3 times. Mixon, 14 carries for 67 yards. No touchdowns, but because the Titans were figuring it out. But let's move on to the next game. We have finally another game that kind of was like the Panthers and the Vikings. We had the Broncos and Bears. And again, we have another situation where I think whoever loses this game is going to be close to having to hit that panic. We need to figure it out right now. Bears take the L. Broncos finally get their first win, 31-28. And remember, like I said last week, even though it was a hot take, when I said last week from people that heard it. But again, let's be honest. Look at the stats. Russell Wilson's not playing bad. He's scoring, obviously, besides the take away the Miami game. That's an outlier. They still scored 20, but take away that game. Russell Wilson's putting up points. Even the game they scored 20, he still had over 300 passing yards against Miami. This game, Denver, Russell Wilson, 223, 3 passing touchdowns. 3 pass touchdowns for Russell Wilson. So I'll be honest, I don't think that Russell Wilson is the problem when it comes to now when I say problem, he might be a problem in the locker room. It might be something about him that might be the problem. I'm saying the problem in terms of his performance on the field, I don't think is what you can point out and say that's why they're losing the games. Again, it's their defense. Because even against Chicago Bears, the Broncos gave up 28 points. Russ and the Broncos were able to score 31 to get the dub. But I think if you make adjustments on defense for the Broncos, I think that fixes a lot of the problem because Sean Payton is an offensive-minded coach. And I think that might be where some of the friction lies. So much emphasis being put on the offense with Russell Wilson, Jared Jeudy, and all these guys, and it's the defense that's lacking in attention. But we'll go forward. Broncos finally get the first win. Bears drop to 0-4. Raiders and Chargers. Khalil Mack scored 6 sacks, tied for second most in a single game. He becomes the 5th player in NFL history to reach this milestone. 6 sacks in a single game against the Raiders. The Chargers win 24-17. And the Raiders are playing without their starter, obviously, so it's been a little rough. They tried to get the run game going. Jacobs had 58 yards with a tutty. He also had 88 catches for 81 yards. So their running back and their receiver, their top rusher and top receiver was their running back, which is a problem. Devontae Adams had 8 catches for 75 yards, but the Chargers just got it done. They basically got it done on the ground. Davis had 2 rushing touchdowns, and Spiller had 2 rushing touchdowns, with Kelly with 65 rushes. Herbert threw 1 pass touchdown and 1 interception. Patriots and Cowboys. Boy, was that a defensively played game for the Cowboys. Cowboys scored 2 touchdowns on defense. Cowboys outscored. The Cowboys defense scored more touchdowns than the Patriots offense in a single game. That's a problem. But again, when I talk about the reason why I went ahead and slid Dallas into the upper echelon is even if offensively they're not as solid as I'd like them to be, their defense is so good, you can just bet on the defense. At this point, Cowboys, we're betting on the defense. Now, again, don't get me wrong, I do believe Dak Prescott and the Dallas offense is good. But even if they have an off night, I'm saying I'm banking on their defense to just hold the opponent to less points to whatever their offense can put on the board. So I'm banking, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, you're really just banking on that defense, even though you have Tony Pollard, you have Dak Prescott, you have CeeDee Lamb, you have Gallup, you have these offensive weapons that are going to put on points. But you're just banking on when it's crunch time that defense is going to show up. Michael Parsons, even though Diggs is hurt, you still have a solid secondary. They got 2 touchdowns on defense. So Dallas Cowboys defense is up there. San Francisco 49ers, Cardinals, I was not interested in that. I had San Francisco winning. They're in the upper echelon of teams that are just clear-cut better than the rest. So that's not a surprise, 35-16. Jets, Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes threw his 200th touchdown in his 884th career game, the fastest milestone in NFL history. And I had my boy Mark nervous. Before this game, I texted the boys in the Garden 615, and I said, Jets upset KC, question mark, question mark, question mark. Because I was looking at some stuff, and I was speculating that the Jets might have a good chance to beat the Chiefs. And it was at the second half of the game, it was looking like Zach Wilson was figuring it out. I forget the receiver's name. It's escaping me right now for the Jets. Not Lazard. Wilson was going crazy. Lazard was going crazy with the TD. And then you had Hall was out there toting. Cook, Wilson, he seemed like he was starting to figure it out. They got the pass game going for him. I don't want to beat a dead horse with this, but basically, the game was close. Jets had an opportunity to win, but again, it's Patrick Mahomes. You're talking about one of the greatest quarterbacks ever play the game. So he obviously found a way to win. He had to get a first down. He goes down like the 1 or 2 yard line. They need at the 1 or 2 to finish the game. They don't even have to score because they're up 3, and Chiefs get the win. But I don't believe moral victory, so I'm not gonna say moral victory. But there are some things you can take away from this game if you're the Jets that you're feeling good about going on for the rest of the season. If Zach Wilson can continue this play at this level. Next, we have Seahawks, Giants. Not surprised. Giants just haven't looked good all year. They don't have an established run game because Saquon Barkley is out, which is they're kind of like the Titans almost in a sense, where a lot of their offense relied heavily on their running back, and now their running back's not playing. They seem like they're having trouble with identity and finding who they are on offense. Are they a passing team or are they a rushing team? They were a rushing team that lost their best rusher, so it feels like they're trying to kind of still be a rushing team without that talent there. So they might seem like they're trying to switch to maybe a more passing team, but that's not their identity. There seems to be like an identity crisis with the Giants, but there's no surprise in there. Seahawks, that boy Geno Smith gets it done. Defense phenomenal with the interception there. I believe was it 2 interceptions that Daniels threw? It might have just been 1. Nope, it was 2. I was correct. 2. Daniel Jones threw 2 interceptions. That defense just looked phenomenal. All right, moving on to week 5. What I'm looking forward to week 5. I think I have enough time to speed run through all of these games. So let's go. Bears, Commanders. Again, if Bears lose this game against the Commanders, it's time to hit the panic button. And by panic button, I mean it's time for them to be full sense of urgency of trying to figure out what it is they need to do now to start winning games. Because I believe if they can't do against the Commanders, which is not even, let's be honest, the Commanders are a mid-tier team this year. If you can't figure out a way to win against a mid-tier team now, when you go the rest of your season playing better competition, it's just not going to go well. So I think this is a must-win for the Bears. If they lose this one, then I think it's a slippery slope to having just a terrible season. I think if they get this dub, they can build some confidence and they can start rallying back together, and potentially maybe whatever's worked for this win, they can build upon that and maybe string some wins along down the road. But I think this is a must-win for the Bears. If you go 0-5, it's not pretty going 0-5 in the NFL. It's not easy to come back from 0-5. It rarely, I don't even know if it's been done, but if it has been done, it's very rare to come back over 5. So this is a for sure must-win for the Bears. Next, Jacksonville Jaguars, Bills. This is the series that's in London. And I believe, they're staying in London this week because they played again. I believe Bills I think Bills just take this one. I'm not really sure. I can see Jacksonville, I can see Jacksonville maybe squeaking a win through this just because they stayed in London and then have to travel again to London. And the Bills, I can literally just like technicality they win because like traveling they might have an advantage of travel, something like that. So I can see them winning by like a field goal or something stupid like that. But I think Bills pretty much got that. Dolphins, Giants, that might be a massacre. It might be another outing like the Bills, because the Broncos and Miami. I could literally see. I think Giants might be a worse team than the Broncos. I believe Broncos and Giants are on the same level at the bottom tier. The only difference is Broncos actually have an offense. That's the only difference. Broncos actually have an offense, just their defense is suspect. Giants, their defense suspect, and their offense just struggles putting points on the board. Russell Wilson can at least get you 300 passing yards, or at least 250. Saints, Patriots. This would be interesting because the Saints defense has been stout for the most part this year, and New England Patriots are having not identity issues, but they're a little inconsistent for a Bill Belichick level. Like you get this, you're used to getting this consistent play. So sometimes they're doing well, sometimes they're doing not. You don't know what Patriot team you're going to get, which is rare to say about a Bill Belichick team. So this one would be interesting. I think Saints actually get this dub because of their defense, even though the Patriots are a 1.5 point favorite. I think Saints can get this dub purely off of their defensive play. Pittsburgh Ravens. Ravens are 6.5 point favorite. This is a good one. We're talking about a well-coached team. I might go Pittsburgh for this underdog simply because of coaching. Mike Tomlin's my favorite coach of all time in the NFL. Just because he's black, but he is black. But not just because of that, but just because he coaches well He coaches well-rounded football. He coaches great defense, and he's never had a losing season. And there's just something to be said about a coach that's never had a losing season in his career. I want him to continue that. He's one of my favorite coaches. So I actually think Pittsburgh I think they'll get that dub with that just from being just pure coaching. Even though Harbaugh is a great coach, I do think he gets outcoached this game. Pittsburgh gets that win. Detroit Panthers. Detroit, I think, takes this one with their run game and Goff playing decent ball. Houston Falcons. This one's interesting. Both teams are 2-2. I think this is a must win for one of these two. For this game's must win for both of them in terms of confidence. You go 2-2. You're starting off. You're having an average season. You're 2-2. You're 500. I think whoever gets this win, it's a good confidence booster to move towards the rest of the season, and it puts you over that thing in 500. And I feel like they're both like same level teams. So if Houston can win this game, whoever wins this game out of these two can kind of catapult themselves forward in terms of these mid-tier teams. I'm not saying whoever wins is not mid-tier anymore, but you're moving up the ladder, obviously. So that'd be interesting. I do think Houston gets it done. If CJ Stroud continues to play he's playing, I do think Houston gets the dub, but it's going to come down to, I think it comes down to, can Houston stop Bijan Robinson? If Houston can stop the Falcons running back, then they win. Titans-Colts. Colts is a 1-point favorite. I'm taking Titans. I think they keep it rolling with the run game that they've established last game with Derrick Henry. I think they're going to start giving Derrick Henry the ball. They figured it out, and now they're just going to keep it on going. So I actually will take Titans on that underdog, and I think it's going to be because of the run game that Derrick Henry's going to put on. I'd say he gets 90. I think he gets 90-plus yards on that one. Bengals, Cardinals. Bengals are a 3-point favorite over the Cardinals. That one's tough. They're both 1-3. I don't really care for that game, if I'm going to be honest, but I'll just give you somebody. I'll go Bengals. I don't know. Rams, Eagles. I'm going to take Eagles on that. Just their defense. I'll take their defense, and I'll take Jalen Hurts. AJ Downtown Brown, Devontae Smith. I'll take all those guys. Chiefs, Vikings. I'm going to take Chiefs on that one. Even though I'll take Chiefs on that one, but I see Vikings taking the dub if they get Justin Jefferson going on a hot streak. If they can get, here's what I'll say about the Vikings. Justin Jefferson's going to get his. He's been getting his all season. They just haven't been able to win. If the Vikings can establish a run game early, they force them to load the box, and you get one-on-one matchups against Justin Jefferson, I think Vikings can take this dub. I think they can take this dub. Yes, that's that. Jets, Broncos. I'm going to be honest. I think this could potentially be another blowout for the Broncos. The Broncos have shown that when they face top-tier offenses, they can't stop them from doing anything. I think Jalen Hurts has an absolute field day against the Broncos. And did I mess up? Did I say AJ Downtown Brown for the Jets or the Eagles? No, I said that for the Eagles. Yeah, AJ Downtown Brown. I get them mixed up sometimes. Anyway, I think, no, Jets and Broncos. I saw Eagles and Broncos. I get Eagles and Jets mixed up because they're the same exact color. Jets, Broncos. This might be the worst game of the NFL today. The only worst matchup I could think of is probably Broncos, Giants. But I will actually take Broncos on this one because Wilson, actually, I might take Jets. Jets defense, even though they haven't been winning, Jets defense is good. And I think Zach Wilson, if they can continue to set him up with plays like they did this past week, I think Jets can actually get this dub off of pure defense because their defense is still solid. They held Patrick Mahomes with 23 points with I don't want to say struggling offense because he was playing better, but with a mid-tier offense. Then Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco. This is the game of the week right here. This is Uncle Strib's game of the week. Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco 49ers are a 3.5-point favorite over the Dallas Cowboys. I honestly have no idea for this game. This is Sunday night, 7:20, so I'll be watching this game for sure. I'm just excited for this game. I honestly can't even give predictions on this. Brock Purdy, to me, San Francisco is Dallas Cowboys with a little less good of a defense, but a better offense, a better team offense. I think the talent. Actually, I don't even want to say that. Deebo Samuel's a monster. I think offensively, San Francisco is a little bit better than Dallas. Defensively, Cowboys are a little bit better. So it's literally like they're the same team, but one's a little bit better than the other, vice versa. That makes sense. So that'd be really interesting to see. I'm excited for that game. Packers, Raiders. I think Packers take that one. Jordan Love has actually been playing really well despite the loss they had last week. And I don't know if the Raiders' starting quarterback is going to be back by then, because I think it's still going to be O'Connell that's playing. But we'll see. I'll take Packers on that. That's what I'm looking forward to for next week. And I'm excited for another week of NFL football. This season has been exciting. I've also was talking to the boys on the Garden 615. First of all, check that out if you guys haven't. Garden 615. If you're watching on YouTube, I have a playlist for the Garden 615. If you're listening on Spotify, if you scroll, or if you're listening to podcasts, you just scroll. They're like right there next to each other because all on the same channel. But I think what I have noticed about the NFL this year is the level of play defensively in the NFL across the board seems like it's been up to level. Like, I know over the past few years, there's been so much money put into offenses and have these explosive offenses with the Chiefs. You got the Eagles. You got the Bills. Now you see how Miami got their team together. These are explosive offenses, but it seems like there is slowly being a switch to focusing on upping everybody's defense. So it seems like across the board, these defenses have gotten better, or at least the level of play on defense has gotten better, and teams are starting to pour money into defenses. But that's just observations I've made so far, 4 weeks into the NFL, and this is gonna come out Wednesday. So tomorrow will be Thursday Night Football. I'll be excited for that. So I'll catch you guys next week right here on the NFL coverage, and we'll catch you guys next time.
My destiny, I'm gonna chase my